Hi, everybody. Welcome to Friday Wrap Up. And I want to make a special kind of an announcement here. This is one of the most important shows I've ever done or ever will do. It's important not because I did it, it's important because of what you need to know. You need to know who our enemies are, enemies plural. So anybody who did not watch the earlier part one and part two, please go back and watch it, because here's what's going to happen. We're going to zip through this, and there were a lot of links that were in those first two segments, and we're not going to play them again. So if you want to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, you need to go back and watch the longer version of this. But this will give you a good start. So what they did, those links, is they absolutely validate everything I'm going to say. So you're not just hearing it from me, from one individual. You're hearing it from respected sources telling you upfront who our enemy is. Let's go on down and dig into this, and we're going to run through it pretty quickly. So basically, this is the Friday wrap of Iran, the untold story. So we're not just talking about bombs dropping. We're talking about why did Donald Trump feel that it was absolutely crucial to make this attack. But the answer is quickly, because every president that has preceded him for the last 50 or 60 years has kicked the can down the road on a number of different things and allowed us to get in a situation where we were backed into a corner. If we didn't take away from Iran their ballistic missiles and the ability to have an atomic bomb, we were going to go into World War III, into a nuclear holocaust, because they absolutely are committed to killing as many people as they need in order to have world dominance. Let's go on down, and we're going to divert for a second because I have some good news. It's been 3 years I've been trying to get this book out, and it's finally out. If you press on that QR code, you can go to my website where you can buy the book, and we've introduced merchandise. You can buy that. And for those who don't follow me, I want you to understand this book, like every book I write, is always written in advance. It was written 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, the name was selected, Liberty Crusade, Restoring the Republic, which is exactly where we're at right now, right this minute. So I went back in and I rewrote this and brought it up to where it's absolutely to the last minute. And it is crucial, because now we are in the point where the global financial elite are absolutely trying to create chaos. They want order out of chaos, and they're willing to do anything to get it. And we need an army of people to stand up, because we've got to stand up politically. We've got to know the lies that have been told us, and the truth will set us free. So like I've always said, God told me I would be held in the cleft of the rock until the last minute. He'd cram information in my head for 57 years and bring me out to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that truth would open people's eyes, and that would set the people free. And you would finally understand all those little pieces that you see, because you'd see the puzzles put together, and you'd be viewing everything from 60,000 foot down, where nothing is obscured. So let's go on down, and we'll get back to this presentation. Please go check this out. Oh, by the way, anybody who doesn't know me and isn't immediately ready to buy a book, go to the website anyway, because we put there for you a chapter that you can read so you can get a feeling for what this book is all about. And one last thing on the book, please, if you intend to buy a book, if you're one of my followers, buy it now, because if I can get first rank in the 3 categories that we're in, I will get some awards from Amazon that will greatly help future sales of this book. So if you have the intention to buy it, please do it now. All right, let's go on down, and we're going to find out. This is exactly what they want. They want Islam will dominate the world, and they're calling America the big Satan, and they're calling Israel the little Satan, and they are committed to kill us and to kill Christians in a massive amount. What you see here, now there's one of those links. I'm not going to play it, but you need to go and you need to see that this Donald Trump is not coming in here as an aggressor. The Iranian people direly want him to do this, because they believe it's going to give them the opportunity to get freedom, and especially freedom for the women. They are nothing but slaves. They have literally no rights. And if they were to commit adultery, they can be beaten. They can be buried up to their neck. They can be killed, and there's no consequences for their husband. But you let the husband go out and do the same thing, and there's no consequences whatsoever. It's a ideology that absolutely enslaves women. Let's go on down to the next slide, and we're going to go back into the Bible for a second. And remember now, for those of you who follow me, God told me when I had my near-death experience, read the Bible cover to cover, which I've done more than once. and read the Quran, which I only did once. But I needed to know it because he told me the time when I bring you out is when you're going to need to know who the enemy is. I mean, you're going to need to know what the global financial elite, but you're going to need to know who Islam is. And in the Bible, Islam is a pale horse who is trying to bring jihad upon the world. And jihad is what? That is their holy war, where they want to bring in the 12th Imam, and they don't care if they have to blow the entire world up to do it. And they call themselves a religion of peace. But look at that graphic. They get their followers through submission. They force them. They conquer a nation, and they force them. And they give you some options that are not very good options. We'll get to that in another slide. But right now, I want to give you some facts. They say, we're the religion of peace. I need to give some history. Basically, Muhammad tried to make Christ just a prophet, make himself a prophet, and he tried to basically use the Bible in order to get his foundation, and the people rejected him, and that's where he became a religion of conquest. So if you read the Bible and they're talking about the Islamic people, it is a religion of peace. But the minute you talk about someone of another faith, it just tells you all over the place, kill them, lie to them, do whatever you want to do. They're your mortal enemy. So I'm going to read you one of the shiras, and here's what it goes. That when the sacred months are passed away, kill the idolaters. That means us, the non-Muslims, wherever you may find them, and kill them and besiege them and lie in wait for them in every place of observation. Does that sound like a religion of peace? Now let's go on down and let's tie it together with some facts, and go click on that link when we're done. So basically, here's some unrefutable facts. It's coming out of a book, Islam, Religion of Peace or War. It's a religion of war. And it says that they killed 51 million Christians. It says they killed 80 million Hindus. They killed 10 million Buddhists, and they killed a whopping 120 to 125 Africans through their slave trade. They are the religion of death. Let's go on down, and we're going to take you through some more history. This gold star that you see here, most people think of it as having been originated under Adolf Hitler when they made the Jews wear that, and when they made the Jews basically submit, and they put them, using that as a form of recognition, they put them in the ghettos and later sent them to the concentration camps. That's not where that originated. It originated when we had a 1400-year war with Islam, and any nation that Islam conquered, they made those people either wear a gold badge or wear a necklace, and we'll get to that in a second. So they gave you three choices. This is a religion of conquest. If they conquered your nation and you were willing to adopt Islam, no problem. But if you weren't, then you had to pay a servitude tax. And you were absolutely a second-class citizen. You wore that badge on your clothing, and if someone who was of the Islamic faith walked down the street, you had to cross over to the other side. You had literally no rights. You were slaves, but you were allowed to practice your religion. If you didn't opt for option one or option two, then the third option was pretty fatal. They just cut your head off. There it is. And they tell you over and over again that we want to dominate the world, and if you go out and commit jihad against somebody, against a group of people, you make some kind of a terrorist attack, hey, you're going to go to heaven and you're going to get 72 virgins. That's 180 degrees counter-opposed to what Christianity, the nation of true love and true peace, is all about. Let's go to the next slide, and we're going to see that victory sometimes makes strange bedfellows. The whole goal of the global financial elite is order out of chaos. And they don't care who they have to, how do they have to cozy up with. They'll work all that out at the end. And so I want to take you back in history. The global financial puppet masters are the people who we ran away from in Europe, who were the feudal monarchies that gave us no freedom whatsoever. We couldn't own land. We didn't have a vote. We didn't have any say in the government. Their monarchies fell, and as they did, they took the vast amounts of money that they had and set up the banking industry that controls all the spheres of influence. And now today, let's look at those two pictures over to the left. Here's what we see. We see an alliance of convenience, and we'll work it out later, but basically Nancy Pelosi, a socialist Democrat. And then we see AOC, and she is the spokesperson For the left. Wait a minute, she was, because she made a big mistake recently. She had a 90-minute debate with Donald Trump, and it focused on, a lot of it was on the Green New Deal, and Donald Trump just eviscerated her. And after that, her base just fell apart because people finally understood that there was no money for the $93 million deal. There was no money for any of the social programs that she was supporting. And basically, it was all smoke and mirrors. And so she said, I'm not running. And then we got Omar over there. And she's, of course, a Muslim. And she spouts off her mouth. And it's clear as clear can be that she hates the United States. And then you go down and see Bernie Sanders, and you see Bandami, and you see AOC again, and that's your alliances. That's the alliance of hate. That's the alliance that wants to bring the United States down. That's the alliance that wants to create jihad. That's the alliance from the global financial elite that say that we are consuming too many of their valuable resources, and so they are committed to killing the vast majority of us. The Georgia Guidestone says we'll tolerate a population of 500 million. Well, the UN is much more generous. They say we'll tolerate a population of 1 billion. But the fact of the matter is we're not consuming wastefully their resources. They're wasting their resources because we don't have capitalism. We have crony capitalism where everything is made to self-destruct within a matter of months, meaning that it's going to consume those resources over and over and over again. When we go to the new kingdom, God's economic system, it's going to be based on gold and commodities of every sort and every natural resources you can have, and we'll make products that are able to last for not a lifetime, but for generations. And therefore, that will be the ultimate act of conserving resources. So what you're seeing is an alliance literally from hell. Let's go on down and we'll see that Donald Trump realizes what I've been telling you. And he's standing up and he knows what's happening in Europe. He knows that starting with the Arab Spring, that there was an invasion of millions and millions of Muslims going into Europe. And he knows that they have, 4 wives? And each wife has 2, 3, 4 kids. And they know that the people of Europe typically are having 1.2 kids. And they have 1 wife. And so they're out birthing the native Europeans 10 to 1. And once you get the majority, that's the majority rule. And what did our founders call it? Mobocracy. Then they can take over the political system and they can enforce Sharia law. And so over to that right-hand side, the state of Texas just had a vote to ban Sharia law, and I think it got 90% support, so it passed. And Donald Trump is saying, a statewide initiative or a citywide initiative is not enough. We've got to have a national initiative, no Sharia law, period, because Sharia law is 100% diametrically opposed to the principles of the Constitution of the United States, to the Bill of Rights that gives each and every one of us freedom and each and every one of us a voice, and it does not suppress women. Everybody is treated equally. Now, we may not realize that because there's so many voices out there that are doing everything they can to divide us. The money elite are buying power and influence in every sphere. They control they control the media, they control the entertainment industry, they control the politicians, the banks, the corporations, etc. But all that's about to change, and we're going to get the financial reset that God intended. And with that, the money is going to be taken away from the global financial elite, and their mouthpiece, their megaphone will be gone, and the truth will set you free. Let's go on down to the next slide, and we're going to take this a little deeper. Donald Trump knows that just saying that we can't have Sharia law is not enough. There are other infiltrators that are in our government. So you see Omar there, and the Supreme Court is looking at banning dual citizenship so that basically we can't get a Muslim in here that's committed to bringing America down, but yet claims, I'm an American and I have a right to hold office. Nope, he wants to ban it, and rightfully he should. And there are other people that are coming out and saying, not just Donald Trump, we need to ban Sharia law across the board. This is not a religion that basically is friendly to our Constitution. People need to know that Sharia law is 180% diametrically opposed to the values that are embedded in our Constitution. Our Constitution is a body of laws, but if you go back and you listen to what the founding fathers said, they said they weren't based on the laws of man. They were based upon the laws of God. They were based upon the 10 Commandments. And that's why they give us freedom and dignity, because they're based on God's laws. Let's go on down, and we're going to jump over to Europe. And we're going to give another little history lesson and the people who control us politically. So we're about to find out that we haven't had an honest election for decades and decades. And because of that, there have been all kinds of things that have been inflicted on us, including massive immigration from people who hate us, who are our enemies. And in this instance, it started with the Arab Spring, where they sent almost 6 million Muslims into Europe that have now grown and grown and grown and become a majority population in a number of the countries in Europe. And finally, Europe is beginning to stand up under the leadership of Giorgia Mahoney. But I personally think it's probably too little too late. Look at that picture in the middle. And that's what happens when it comes prayer time in Europe. And look at the picture to the right. That's what happened when people come up from South America and force their way into this country. I mean, these both represent invading armies committed to taking over the political system, the economic system of the United States of America, and for that matter, the entire world, because their goal is to dominate the world. Let's go to the next slide. And here we're going to see how it all emerged. The picture up in the top left, that's the picture of all the nations that were gutted as a result of the Arab Spring. And that picture down below, that's that famous exodus from Afghanistan that was designed to basically leave billions and billions and billions of dollars of U.S. Military supplies on the ground that can be used against us. And then we go over to the other side, and looking at our Western Hemisphere, we see that the nations in Mexico and Latin America and South America are effectively run by drug cartels, and Donald Trump is basically waging a war against them, declaring them cartels, declaring them illegal, and basically having the right to go into any nation and expunge them. So what we have to do is we have to get it to a situation where every nation in the world, this is what Donald Trump is trying to do, end the wars and get into a situation where every nation can have a decent standard of living, parity. And I want to draw your attention to that lower left. And that's what's happening. When we read those statistics before, we read 120 to 125 million Africans killed through their slave trade. They're still active there. There's a lot of Muslims there, and they're killing Christians at record rates. So we have to understand that this affects every continent, every nation in the world, and these people are absolutely committed. And one of the very, very most powerful weapons they have is immigration and birth. So let's go on down. And speaking of which, we're going to get a little lesson on birth. So they can have 4 wives. Each wife has 2, 3, 4 kids. And the average person in Europe has between 1 and 1.2 and 1.5 children. So as you can see, they're grossly outbirthing the people that are the endemic races in Europe. And it's a cultural, political, and religious dominance that they want. It's an invasion, a complete invasion that is intended to dominate all of Europe, and for that matter, the United States, and for that matter, the entire world. And under jihad, they're looking for their 12th Iman, and they don't care if they have to set the world on fire, because they absolutely believe that the world should be controlled by Islam, not by Christianity, not by any other religion. So now, if you go back, I stopped it here because I didn't want this to be too long, but if you go back and watch part 2 from earlier this week, it goes into exposing election fraud and telling you all the things that we need to do from a voting viewpoint to get back control of our government so that we can pass the laws that we need to pass so that we don't go down the road that Europe has gone down. So please go back and watch part 1 and part 2. I normally don't ask you to do that, but this is such an important story. If we don't wake up in 10 years, you're not going to recognize America. There are already cities and states in this country that I don't recognize. I mean, why did Texas stand up like they did? Because there are mosques all over the place, because they've already got Sharia law in some places. They realize what it's done to their state, and they're finally standing up. We have to do it before we get to the point where we're like Europe, and it may well be too late. We need to pass sweeping legislation saying that you cannot have dual citizenship and serve in the government, saying that we cannot have Sharia law because a nation divided is destined to fall. The Bible tells us that, and Sharia law is 180 degrees counter to our religious beliefs with Christianity, and 180 degrees counter opposed to the principles of the Constitution, which truly represent a nation of peace, where Islam represents a nation of death. So with that, we're done. Let's go to the last slide, and we'll wrap this up for the day. Please go to my website. If you're already a follower, buy a book, buy some merchandise, support the channel, subscribe, share this with everybody you can. This is crucial. This is the war. We're going into the war right now, and it's not just what's happening over in Iran with bombs. It's basically that you, the American people, have to be informed and know what you need to know in order to stand up and participate at the ballots to support the legislation that we need passed in order to make sure that this United States of America remains free, does not ever fall under Sharia law. So subscribe and share this with everybody. And if you're going to buy a book, buy it now. And if you don't know me or my platform, at least click on that link. And there's a chapter in there where you can read and make some intelligent decisions as to whether or not this is a book you want to buy. So for those who follow me, please, if you're going to buy a book, buy it now. Share this with everyone. We will see you next week. Thank you very much.